this quote from Abraham Hicks, Law of Attraction channeler. You cannot struggle your way to joy. Struggle and joy are not the same channel. You joy your way to joy. You laugh your way to success. It is through your joy that good things come. Abraham. And I love the teachings of Abraham. I actually went and saw them live once, and it was powerful. It definitely, I came away uplifted from it, and I do find it very, very uplifting, a lot of their stuff. What I find is it's difficult for a lot of people. A lot of people see that, but there's nothing to grasp onto. There's no strategy there, and what I find is it doesn't work so much. It doesn't work so much. Struggle is not a bad thing. People think they're struggling and they think they're bad, or they're in the wrong place, or they should be joyous, they should be struggling, they should be grateful, and they're not grateful, and then they beat themselves up for it, and all this sort of stuff. And my experience is that when I look back, I find the struggles have strengthened me. The struggles I've had in my life, they've strengthened me. They've made me reach deep down inside of myself and bring out a being of myself that I didn't know existed, so it's really been through the struggles that I have been forged. Who I am right now, I've been forged through my struggles. And so when I read that, I don't make a full connection to it. Even though I like it, it sounds nice, and I do get something from Abraham Hicks. I am uplifted by it in a way. There's just a slight disconnect there, and I know a lot of people struggle with that sort of stuff because of that. And I've had experiences, like one of my experiences that's probably the biggest struggle in my life. The biggest struggle in my life at that time, with who I am now, I wouldn't struggle with it so much. But who I was back then in my mid-20s, very egocentric person, I was married, and my wife left me, and it was like a sledgehammer in the face. I didn't think it was going to happen, and it just happened, just like that, and it was very, very traumatic for myself. And I was in a struggle. I was in a real struggle. I couldn't go back to my job. I became completely broke. I just couldn't face the world. I would see people who I hadn't seen in a while, and I would turn the opposite direction so I wouldn't have to speak to them, because if they asked me anything about myself, I was afraid I was going to just burst out crying. That's the sort of state I was in. So I found myself, my strategy was, I found myself a good drinking buddy, and we just partied a lot, and all day long we would just smoke big reefers. We would just roll big fat ones, and we would smoke them all day just to kind of numb ourselves out, because he was in the same situation as me. We were kind of birds of a feather flock together, and then his girl just left him, and he was an old friend of mine, so we just started hanging out together, and that's what we did all day. We smoked big reefers, and every night we just got on the beer, went out, had casual relationships, and that's what we did. And it was a very poor strategy. Like I said, I was completely broke, and that's what we did. My health was starting to go down because of it, and everything. Obviously it's just not a good strategy. Just drinking and smoking joints is not a good strategy to live your life, and just hiding away from the reality. So I realized that it just didn't work. My strategy, while okay for a while, it numbed me out for a while. Maybe it stopped me from completely breaking down and going into a completely snotty mess. Distracted me for a while, but it wasn't a good long-term strategy. So what worked? What worked when I struggled was I changed my strategy and I got to work. And when you're struggling, here's the thing: get to work. And that's what I did. I went and I got a job as a steel erector, one of the most physically demanding jobs and dangerous jobs as well. And I would work 13 hours a day on this huge site. And I could be 8 stories high, holding on to this piece of steel that weighs 30 tons. and clamping it together with another one. How you have to be very, very present. I didn't have any time to be in my victimhood, my poor me, what had happened to me, because I had to be very present, because I could lose my fingers like that when I'm taking a 30-ton piece of steel and clamping it together with another one, getting bolts this size and screwing them in. It was a very, very physically demanding job and a very dangerous job. You have to be very, very present, or else you could die, or else you could get your fingers cut off, or whatever, you know. And so I did that. And then on the weekends I worked as a bouncer. Again, I channeled my struggles. You know, I worked as a bouncer, so I was in confrontations all the time and having to deal with them in this very centered way. And then every night I went to the gym. I just pumped iron. So I struggled in the gym. I channeled my struggles into better things, into work. I got stronger than ever at the time. I was pumping weights, putting it all in there every time I went into the gym. And that's what I did. And when I wasn't in the gym, and when I wasn't working, and when I wasn't, you know, in the nightclub working as a bouncer, I was reading and listening to audios. I was reading personal development books, and I was listening to personal development audios to try and sort my head out, you know, to try and sort myself out, to try and get a new perspective on life. And that's what I did for a year, just constantly. And suddenly I made my money back, and because I was just working 60, 70 hours a week, I wasn't spending any money, I was saving a ton of money, paying off my debts, and got my body strong again, really strong. And then I did that for a year. And then the next year, I opened up my own business, a successful business. I bought a house. I met Victoria, who I've now been with for almost 10 years. And that was a great year. That was a great year. And it was only a great year is because I was struggling. And instead of in my struggle go, okay, I'm just going to sit here and feel joy instead. And I'm going to get joy from feeling joy. I said, no, I'm going to have a strategy to channel my struggles into something. And I just worked my ass off with a strategy. And that's what did it. That's what did it. That's what brought me to a place of joy, was channeling my struggles and working my ass off. And, you know, that's the thing that's maybe missing from the law of attraction, is that thing called work. If she just took that quote there and just clamped into the middle, stamped on it, work your ass off as well to joy. You can actually do it. You can work your ass off to joy, believe me. You channel your struggles. Instead of sitting there in your victimhood, whatever struggle you're going through right now, whatever you're struggling with, you know, struggle forward and have a strategy. Create a strategy. And that's what I did, and that's how I changed my life, is I focused my energy. I channeled my struggles. Instead of sitting there and drowning my sorrows, when I did that for a little while, instead of doing that long term, I saw that it wasn't working. It wasn't a workable strategy long term. And so then I made a change, and that change worked. So there you go, law of attraction, all great. Just work your ass off in the middle of it, and it really works very well. Okay, thanks for watching. See you later.